Salut à tous, j'espère que vous m'entendez bien, c'est Christopho, bienvenue dans ce stream. Ah oui, j'avais dit que je ferais en anglais, so let's switch to English baby. Is the volume too... Okay, too loud, but just for me I think. Live. Ah. Solarus Quest Editor. Okay, looks like the stream is working. Hi Steven. Okay, this stream is in English after all. Oh, the title of the video is wrong on YouTube. It will be live coding Solarus Quest Editor number 25. Changing the pattern of multiple tiles. Okay, so we are going to do some C++ code in this stream. Let's open the Quest Editor and explain what we will do tonight. I'm opening like any project. For example, this. And one of the new very nice features of Solarus 1. Yeah, the volume was too loud actually. But maybe the music, the global volume was too loud. Maybe the music volume is still too loud. Just tell me and we will see. So one of the very nice features of Solarus 1.6, the current development version, is the ability to change the pattern of an existing tile. You no longer have to destroy the tile if you want to use another tile pattern like this. But what we want to do tonight is to continue the work on this subject so that I can select multiple patterns at once and right click. So of course there will no longer be a dialog box when multiple tiles are selected, but I want to add an action in the context menu here, change tile pattern, which would open the same dialog as this. Okay, undo, and let's try to do that. And the second thing will be to be able to change with the second menu action here the pattern of all tiles that have the same current pattern as the selected one. So actually you will not be forced to select all identical patterns if you just want to replace them all, because it will take a lot of time for big maps. For example, if you want to change all these ones. Okay, so let's try the first action that I just described. Solarus Quest Editor. Autogen. Yeah. So we are in the map editor. I think the music volume is still too loud. Okay. Contextual menu of the map view. Let's go. So I already started something here. I think I only did this comment and nothing more, probably. Okay, so I have some code to build the contextual menu, and if the selected entities are tiles, there is this convert to dynamic tiles. Sorry for the French. This convert to dynamic tile option, if you select something that is not a tile, you don't have that action. So here I'm testing if all selected entities have the same exact type. Either they are all normal tiles or all dynamic tiles. But what I want to add now is a slightly different test. Because if we have a mix of dynamic and static tiles, we still want to add these new actions, change pattern and change pattern of all. Actually, change pattern of all is, I think it will only appear if all selected tiles have the same pattern already. So we have some different cases. So the first one, change pattern. Okay. So I can't use this isCommandType function because I want to allow two types. Let's add a function for that. Let's say just R tiles, maybe. Return whether the given entities are all tiles or dynamic tiles. Are tiles. Entity type equals that. If type is not tile and is not dynamic tile, return false. Okay, back to our map view. So now it's easy. If map are tiles indexes Let's add our new menu entry. Menu, add action, and we will have to create it before that. Add action, change pattern action. Okay, they don't they might have different patterns, why not? Change pattern action, yeah. And the separator. Actually, I want to add a separator later. If show convert tail action added here, tail action added here, and if at least one tile related action was added, I put a separator. Should work. Yeah. So now I have to create this somewhere. Q action. How did I call this? Change pattern action. Changing the pattern of selected tiles. And wherever I was creating that one, here just create the other one. Change pattern action, triggered, and action. Actually, I think we will emit a signal instead, because it's not this class that will really do the work. Remove selected entities. Yeah, it just emits a signal as well. And convert tile actions, convert selected tiles, also just emits a signal. So let's do it like that. I mean like that. The Qt5 way. C++11. Change. So emit. Change. Pattern requested. Get selected entities. Let's declare this signal. Signals. After this one, change pattern requested. Let's be more precise. Change tiles pattern. the pattern of several tiles. Here. Okay, let's try to compile this. Oops. Close. Not used. Set but not used. And the other one was not declared. Oh. What is that? If not, is session empty? Oh. Okay. So all of this should be here. Okay, let's see if our action appeared. Change pattern. Yes, so of course it does nothing. But I want to check if it only appears when I want, when only tiles are selected. Okay, and what if, let's say this tile is a dynamic one, and I select a dynamic one plus a static one. Change pattern appears, but switch to dynamic or to static does not appear. Okay, so it looks good so far. Now in the map editor class we have to watch the signal. Just like we watch the convert tiles signal, we will also watch the change tiles pattern requested. Let's give the same name for the slot. Change tiles pattern requested. Want to change the pattern of some tiles. Indexes of the tiles or dynamic tiles to change. Oops, change tiles pattern requested. Don't care about that. Yeah, maybe we want to check that again. Current type, if current, let's just say type. If type is not dynamic tile and not tile, return. Then I have to open a dialog box and only then try some command which will be called change tiles pattern command, and I will pass the indexes and the new pattern. Okay, and now how do I create a dialog to ask the pattern? I just have to do the same as last time. It was in the edit entity dialog. Let's try to find that slot. User property. Where is it? can't find that. I can't find it. Private slots. So is there a pattern chooser, pattern selector somewhere? Okay, it's not in this class. Pattern field. Oh, okay. It's because the UI already has a pattern chooser. Yeah, and it's the pattern chooser that opens the dialog. Okay, okay. Pattern chooser. So the code I want to copy is this one. Okay, so I create a dialog, execute the dialog. If it was cancelled, return pattern ID, and okay. It should be that simple. Let's just include the pattern chooser. Yeah, I guess I didn't need it here. Pattern dialog. Widgets, pattern picker dialog. Type. Okay, I have to comment this. Tileset, they want the tileset. There must be a get tileset function, or map get tileset. And this new feature will be awesome. Okay, change pattern. A dialog is shown. Let's say I pick something, and okay. And of course nothing happens, because I have to implement this undoable command, which will be the fun part. Okay, so I have to declare a class like this one. Changing the pattern of some tiles. Change tiles pattern command. String pattern ID. Indexes before, well, the indexes don't change, so I will just store them. But what I have to also store is, well, let's do things in the right order. I have to store the indexes, the list of CQ string list of their patterns before the change. So it's a list because they might be different, but pattern IDs and QString. I mean pattern IDs before and pattern ID after. Okay. I don't usually comment this classes. Okay, so indexes. I explicitly put all fields here always. Pattern ID after pattern ID. Okay. And then for comes entity index, indexing indexes, pattern IDs after, IDs before. Want to store the information before the change. Append. Well, I need the entity first. Const entity model. It's either a tile or a dynamic tile. Actually, I can call get entity field index pattern, and the nice thing is that it works for dynamic tiles or regular tiles. There is no dynamic cast to do. Okay. Okay, so the redo will be quite easy. I usually indent like that, but it's not very readable in this case. Set entity field pattern ID after. What's wrong? Key. Oh, I forgot about the key. And I meant this for the redo part. And the undo, actually it won't be that hard. Pattern IDs before I and plus I. Wow, that was easy. QString from QVariant. Okay, get entity field returns the QVariant. So I have to do toString. Oops. Hi, my friend. The 1.6 release. It's hard to say. Maybe in 2 or 3 months. Most of the new features of 1.6 are done. I still have to finish some stuff about shaders. Maybe the initial 1.6 release will have support for desktop OpenGL only, but we are also working on a mobile version. We are trying to make shaders work in all platforms. Well, there is still a big feature I want for 1.6. It's to add 2 columns here, the author and the license of every file, and I also want to show PNG files here, because it's always a mess to keep track of the licenses and the authors of all resources, especially when you copy some resources from one project to another. We still use SDL. That's a good question. Use inner 0. We are still using SDL. But if you apply a shader, that's a shader, that's another shader. Now the rendering is done by OpenGL, but OpenGL and SDL work together. It's very easy to do some OpenGL in an SDL window. SDL is still used for well, the non-shader version, but also the window management, the inputs, and well, not that much more, because the musics are managed by the OpenAL library and not SDL Mixer. Oh, we also use SDL for fonts, SDL TTF. Fonts displaying. But STD Gregoire is working, is doing some experiment with SFML to see if it would work, if it would be able to replace SDL. We don't really want that, but he's still trying for fun. Yeah, exactly, use inner 0. SDL, GL, create context. Okay. So does it already work? Change pattern. Let's try. Oh yeah. I'm thinking of a little detail. Okay. And oh, it works, but I don't think it's refreshed. I have an update issue. I have to force a redraw. But Control Z. Okay, it works except the update. And also when I always select, I forgot that, I always select the impacted entities when I do an undo or redo action. And actually this will also fix my update issue. So that's nice. Undo, redo. But the other problem I was thinking about is what to do when the size is incompatible. So I was surprised that it was so easy. Okay, I still have the update issue because the selection hasn't changed actually. So how do I do that in other cases? I mean, there must be some commands. Well, this one does create some entities. Well, strange. Is there something missing in the update system? Because a field of the entity has changed, so the entity should know that it needs to be redrawn. only selected entity. I mean, okay. The thing is that if I change something here, it does update. And it does update because only because the action of editing an entity from the dialog does create a new entity to replace the other one. So the update system works in this case. Convert for dynamic tiles to static or the contrary also creates an entity. Change size patterns is the one we are currently trying to fix. Okay, so I have some commands where I redraw manually. Okay, it's not the cleanest, but I think it's a bit out of scope of this work to improve the update system here. We'll try to do that another day. Force a redraw. And by the way, if nothing changes, I want to avoid calling this, avoid to call this. So find usage. Yeah. If pattern ID equals, well, I have to do a loop. Indexes map get entity field. Sorry, at least I was able to mute the microphone. Get entity field pattern to string. Well, actually, if it's, I need a boolean. There must be a way to do a std find if something to avoid the loop with the lambda. But it's okay. Yeah, but is there a change? You have to look for a change here. Yeah, so if it's different, and then we can break. Actually, you can just no, we have to do that. And if not at least one change, return. No change, nothing to do. Okay. Then we have the size issue. I guess I just have to store the previous sizes and also the next sizes. So I have a lot of things to store after all. I don't want a queue map. Actually, I just need a queue list of queue size. Yeah, the other one stores a full box because when you resize an entity, it can be expanded from one or the other side. So it's not simply just it's not just the size that can change, but also the coordinates of the upper left corner, which is not our case here. Sizes before, sizes after. We don't need to store the sizes after. Yeah, set entity field. First of all, let's store the sizes before. Add get entity size index. And when I undo, I change also the size. Sizes before I. And now the question is, who is responsible of fixing the size after you change the pattern? All of this, by the way, is because when you select another pattern, maybe the old size of the entity is not a multiple of the size of the new pattern. So maybe the size is incompatible, so we have to automatically adjust it. That's what we did in the pattern chooser, I think. There's a set pattern ID here. Oh, it's just the value in the dialog here. Yes, so it's the edit entity dialog. Apply pattern entity after set field. Okay, so apparently I only call this one. I remember I did this in the previous stream, but I wasn't sure exactly where in the code was the size fixed. I guess it's directly in the entity, so in the tile and dynamic tile subclasses we must watch, yeah, we watch changes of the pattern, and which means that I have nothing more to do normally. Just this should be enough. But when I undo, I really want to apply the old size, and not necessarily the size that would be the result of this. Set resize mode. Oh yeah, because the resize mode can also change. Well, and the preferred layer. Yeah, that's tricky. But I didn't do that last time. Set by size, set resize mode, set preferred layer. That's not the code as I did last time. Will you add a feature of detect different types of tile, for example floor? Because now I have to do it by a customizable entity to do a snowy floor that plays a sound every time the hero moves. You mean custom grounds? For example, you can choose between in the tile set. You can declare some tiles as holes, lava, and a lot of stuff. So basically, you want to add your own custom ground. We'll do that eventually, but not for 1.6. But you can always do it, as you say, with custom entities. Okay, so who calls is size valid? Not a lot of people. Is entity size valid? Was size valid? Set entities direction? Yeah, the set entities direction has exactly the same problem with the size. Resize entity, of course, and the last one is still set entities direction. Hi Phoenix, hi again. Too many streams at the same time. Okay, so I'm looking for some code because I think it cannot work currently. Let's pick any pattern. Okay, so the update issue is fixed because I forced a redraw, and if I undo, redo, and redo, undo, okay, good. But now if I pick, well, first multiple patterns, let's say I don't know, any pattern really, with a compatible size for now. Okay, they all get their old pattern back, and now if I choose an incompatible one, what happens? This is a great question. Yeah, so it doesn't work. It should have been resized to a multiple of the base size, so current size is not a valid one here. So you can see it's all broken. The base size is 24 by 24, but I'm stuck in wrong values. I mean, you can always fix it by hand. Well, I hope. Yes, except it's here. But you get the idea. Okay, so that's what I thought. I didn't take care of the size in the current version. So the question is, how did I take care of the size last time when I did it from this dialog? Let's try again. Okay, okay. Clearly I took care of the size. This time it's correct. But for some reason I can't find where. Is it because we create a new entity? Ah, yeah. It must be in the edit entity command. Okay. Huh. Edit entity. Yes, I remember. It's the edit entity dialog. Ah, no. It's just that we apply all fields and we apply the pattern and then we apply the size. And we take care of applying the size after the pattern. Okay, so the best way, let's try to factorize the code, not to copy paste all of this. So apply size, we get the size the user wants, we round it to the base size, to a multiple of the base size, and oh yeah, there was this thing, it can still be invalid even if it's a multiple of the base size, because being a multiple of the base size is not the only rule. For example, you have some tiles that only are resizable. Very bad example. Only resizable vertically or only resizable horizontally, but this is an old tile set, so bad example. I guess, yeah, repeatable in both directions. And more simply, there are also entities that are not resizable at all. So obviously, you can set, well, not here. It's not resizable, so there is no size field. And this one is only resizable horizontally. So the vertical one is disabled. So actually, it's quite hard to put an invalid size here. But okay, that's why we do this additional test. Maybe do I already have some code for that? We don't really round the size. Oh yes, we do qround. Is there a utility function for that? In size or point or something? No. Yeah, so it's not exactly the same thing that we want. But we can still make maybe a function just for this part. Let's call this entity after. Also, it won't be set valid size, but what is this ensure valid on map? What does this do exactly? Name unique? Okay. It's not really the same idea. Is there a get? Huh, there is a get valid size. Oops. Yeah, but it's not. It's wow, sizes are complicated. It's yet again something different. Get a size that is the multiple. A multiple of the base size. Let's say get base size, get closest base, get a size the closest to the base size. How can you call this? Get closest base size multiple. Okay. This is often the hardest part in programming, trying to find the correct name of a function. Okay, this one is not virtual. Get closest. No, get. How did I call this again? Get closest base size multiple. Multiple const. Paste. And entity model. Okay, rounds the current size to the closest multiple of the base size. The rounded size. So it doesn't mean that the new size will be valid again because there are other constraints, but it guarantees that the base size constraint is respected. That's the idea. Is size valid checks several things, but one of them is that the size is a multiple of the base size, which is what we care about. We maybe we also want to take care of resizing mode. Yeah, if the resize mode is different, there's no get valid size here. Notify field changed. Set base size, set resize mode. Okay. We'll see that. But first let's check if our change is working. So I refactored some code. Have to check if this still works. And then do the same in my new context menu action. Oh. A lot of files are being recompiled here. Teletransporter or teleporter. I'm always hesitating. Okay, what's wrong? Entity after was not declared, of course. It's now the current object. Oh, have to be careful here. Get width and get height, if they exist. I'm not even sure. Yes, they do. Okay. Still compiling. Twitch is saying that I completed 4 new achievements. I don't even know what they are. Okay. So, did we break anything? Yes, apparently. Size, return size. I should declare it here. Okay, so I calling this from nowhere. That's very strange. I should call it from here. Okay, so apparently I do. Not sure why the find didn't actually find it. Ah, I need a parameter here. Okay, so let's call this one rounded size and return rounded size. All right. Q size, sorry, room size. Get closest base size multiple. What's wrong here? I'm not using the parameter. About teleporter and teletransporters, I remember that I checked I made a Google fight between both or something like that to choose the most correct one. Yeah, queue size. And I'm still doing nothing from my result here. Ah. Oh, sorry. No, it's a wanted size. Okay. Finally. And then let's do it in my change pattern tiles pattern command. I think we still want to check if the size is valid. Set entity size index size. Oh, I don't have an entity after. Okay, map. So it means that I need another function here, get entity closest base size multiple entity and size. So after is size valid, this one should be here. Should be cleaner. Is size valid after this one. And here we have a similar function, except that it takes any entity index as a parameter. And return entity get closest blah 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 size. Entity model. Returns in. Ah, it's not the right class here. It's map model. Okay. So it might look strange to have tons of very small functions that only call the equivalent function of the entity class. But actually, if I had to, I mean, all these functions are very simple, so it just works easily. And people who know the map, like the usual calling code, like here, they don't have to first get the entity and then to call the function on the entity. I mean, get the entity, check that the entity is not does exist, and then call the function, the actual function. Okay, so redo. Set entity field. Get closer size multiple. Set the size. Okay, so now we do this. We are doing the same thing as in the edit entity dialog. And we actually the undo is simpler. We just restore the old size, even if it was invalid, which cannot happen very often. But when we undo something, we really want to restore the old state, even if something was wrong in the old state. For example, you can imagine a tile whose pattern doesn't exist. Well, it's actually quite easy, now that I think about it, to have a pattern with a wrong size. A pattern that does not respect the multiple of the base size rule. You just have to edit the tile set, resize your pattern in the tile set, and then maybe existing tile will no longer have a correct size. Entity was not declared in this scope. Sure, index. I meant index. Still no match. Is it because of the constness? No. Oh, it's this one. Get to the size multiple. I forgot const. And then when this thing works, I will commit and then I will try to see what happens with resize modes. Return statement. Okay. What should I return if it doesn't exist? I return an empty queue size. Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, change pattern is, and it doesn't work. Map editor. I get a multiple size. If this entity size valid, set entity size. Is it because of this? That would be strange. Oh yes, it is. It's precisely because of the resize mode. So of course I have the same problem. Well, no. Since this style set doesn't have any resize mode rules. Repeatable. It's actually a repeatable pattern. Okay, so if I do that and that, I can resize this one, but I shouldn't. just because, as I said, the typeset is too old. I will fix that later. Now let's try to understand why when I do the change from here. What? Oh! No, what happened? I'm not even undoing correctly here. The undo is not correct. Size... is it because the size is invalid? No, it's not. Something is really wrong. Just doing this, okay. From the dialog, undo, redo, and when I do it from here, okay. This time it didn't went this way, but still the size is not fixed. Let's try to understand why. Is this a debug build, by the way? Yes. This is from here. Okay, breakpoint. So, ooh, what is this number? It looks like it's map get entity closest base size multiple returned some garbage value. I guess if I continue, I will. Okay, I don't have this very strange. I'm trying to think. Maybe I didn't have the very strange size like this, simply because it was not considered valid. Because it not only must be a multiple of the base size, but also of 8. But why did I have this strange value? Guess closest blah blah blah. Why do I pass here? Okay, I'm passing the variable I just created, and it's not initialized yet. So obviously it cannot work. Maybe I can do a second one. Similarly to this one, it applies to the current size and calls the other one. Get entity size index. Runs the size of entity. I don't like this comment. It looks like we are changing the size of the entity. A size rounded to the closest multiple of an entity's base size. I mean, an entity size rounded to the closest multiple of its base size. It's complicated to explain. No. Yes. The rounded size. And returns an entity size rounded to the closest multiple of its base size. It's the same comment. Well, I won't spend the night on this comment. Yeah, still a lot of things to recompile because I changed map model. Or is it? I just closed it. Okay. Change pattern, this guy, okay, and this time it's not working because the old size was not restored. I restored the pattern, but oh no, map set size, no, set entity size. I don't want to change the size of the map. It's funny that that we didn't actually see the difference, but we were changing the size of the map. Okay. Okay, this time it's looking good, but did I save the wrong size? Git diff Mercury's, yes. I did save my map with the broken size. Git check out maps. Okay. My map has a normal size again. Let's select all of these, change pattern, and pick. I don't know. Doesn't really matter, does it? This one? This one? Okay. Great. I love this. Okay, I won't fix the resize mode issues tonight, but this one are supposed to be non-repeatable, which means that if I do that, this size is not valid. Oh, I forgot to update the tileset. Okay, and since it's not valid, the rounded size is not applied. So that's a problem. I don't simply want to keep that size because it's also invalid. The rounded size is invalid and all size is also invalid. But we will fix that another time. I mean, it's not really... Yeah, it's a problem because then the resize is really broken, and yeah, I can't even resize because it's not a resizable pattern. Okay, so I will open an issue. We will have to fix that. Solarus Quest Editor issues. New. Changing the pattern. Can I mean, can gain invalid size to tiles. Of a changing pattern of a tile can give in an invalid size. If the new pattern is not resizable, the tile keeps an invalid size. Okay. I don't want to fix this now. I want to do the second action here. First I should commit this. Yes. Commit. Allow to change the pattern of multiple tiles at once, which is quite nice. This feature was expected. Okay, then how hard is the second command to implement? Can I just use the same command? Yes, I can. Hi, Contextual. I'm working on my Zelda-like game engine and quest editor. Twitch wanted me to choose a game, so I set up the stream properties with the game Zelda: A Link to the Past, but actually I'm not playing Zelda: A Link to the Past. I'm developing this quest editor, and if you're new to the stream, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. There are a lot of game creation videos, tutorials, and everything. So welcome. Okay, so now, yeah, the second action. Let's go. And I think it should be easy. Basically, a loop just to find the tiles with the same pattern. Yeah. Okay, back to map view. Let's create another action, another queue action here. How did I want to call this action in the user interface? Oh, it's in the comments. Yeah, context menu something, context menu requested, or not? Not this one. Create context menu. Change pattern of all. I mean, change pattern makes sense. There should be dots after the change pattern. Change pattern, because it opens up a dialog. So change pattern, and the second one, how do we call it? Change pattern of all. Doesn't really make sense. Change pattern of all identical tiles. The real exact text should be change pattern of all tiles that have this pattern. But it's way too long. Change pattern of all tiles. So let's say of all similar tiles, maybe. Because identical is not really great. Similar is not really great either. But change pattern all action. Change tiles pattern requested. Okay, so here we will do something more complicated, but it will actually be the only difference. Action of changing the pattern of all tiles that have the same pattern of as the selected one. Let's say ones. And this is complicated enough to deserve its own function this time. This slot change tiles pattern all. Always hard to find appropriate names. Okay. I like this one a bit better. Change pattern action is now created. I need to add it to the contextual menu. Change pattern of all tiles, of all similar tiles. Can make it shorter like this. Change pattern of similar tiles. Okay, so if map are tiles indexes, I also want to check that they all have the same pattern. If is section empty, I do nothing. So I q string pattern ID. I want to check that they all have the same pattern. I have an indexes list. Okay, so map get entity field indexes the first one. I can do index point first pattern to string because it's a Q variant. And now a small loop index in indexes if one of them, so again is different from the first one, then different pattern is true and break. Let's say same pattern is false and break. I should merge these two. Let's try not to break the indentation. So, change pattern, that's for sure. And then change pattern of all similar tiles. Then it depends. Yeah. Bool same pattern. Let's say true by default, and if you found one, a different one, it became false. And only if same pattern we add the action. But it's now change pattern all action, and this was already done above. Okay. Now I have to create a slot that I called here. I have to create this function. A slot change pattern of existing change pattern of similar tiles. Public slot, okay. Let's put it after convert selected tiles. Void. Change the pattern of all tiles that have the same pattern as the first selected one. Let's just as a selection, let's say. Okay. If I mean this return, then so this time I don't check yeah, pattern, I don't care. Oh, of course I care. I need to find the need to find all tiles the same pattern as the first one. Map get a map view, so I have get map, get again entity field, indexes point first, pattern to string, find all tiles and dynamic tiles that also have this pattern. Okay, so there must be a function. What? Get entity field. What is this automatic indentation? Okay. Find entities of type. Tile and dynamic tile. Yeah. Just hope that it won't be too slow on really huge maps. But if we have performance issue, we will fix it later. Let's first do something that works. So we'll have an entity indexes. Let's call this tiles, even if it's tiles plus dynamic tiles. And what does this return? Another entity indexes, I guess, yes. Which is actually QList of entity index. Okay, similar tiles. Change my mind. And dynamic tiles. And now let's traverse both lists for const entity index. Tile in tiles. So again, if almost the same expression. Get map, get entity field, index pattern to string is pattern ID. I can add this to my similar tiles list, and same for the other list. Okay, and then that's it. I just have to call the same to trigger the same signal as before, which is change pattern, change tiles pattern requested. It is just that instead of applying this to the selection, I will apply it to that list that I just built. Similar tiles. QList doesn't make any sense. It's entity indexes. Or QList, actually the template parameter was missing. It's QList of entity index. Almost done, guys. Change pattern of similar tiles. People will love this. And if I select tiles that have different patterns, it doesn't make sense to do change pattern of similar tiles, so it doesn't appear in the menu. But if they all have the same pattern, it does appear. And if I select an enemy in the list, then there is nothing anymore related to tiles. Okay, change pattern of similar tiles. And let's try this one. Okay. Great! It just works, guys. You see, it would be quite annoying to change that one everywhere. Let's just do change pattern of similar tiles and select another one. Okay. A lot of time will be saved. Okay, great. Hi Adrian. I'm just finishing the stream because the feature of changing multiple tile patterns at once is now working. Except a small bug with resize validity, but we'll do that another time. Commit. Allow to resize all tiles that have the same pattern. And this closes issue number 329. Forgot this change log. I don't have to add another entry. It's really the same, just for multiple tiles. No, okay, why not? Allow to change the pattern of... Well, what did I just said in the commit message? Allow to... Oh, I said allow to resize all tiles. Didn't mean to say resize, I mean to say change the pattern of all tiles with the same pattern. Does it really make any sense? Of tiles with the same pattern. Just say of similar tiles again. all similar tiles at once. Okay. Commit. And this will end the stream. When will 1.6 be available? Exactly a few months. Where can I see the update for the future version? Okay, so you can... everything is open source. I will give you the links of Solarus and Solarus Quest Editor. Just the GitHub pages, and so you can see every commit here, and you can also read the changelog, changelog.txt files. To know the new features. And let's talk about that precisely. The main new features of 1.6. A lot of small fixes. Not a lot, not really a lot of changes in the engine. It's more about I'm in the Solarus project, so there are a lot of new features in the Solarus Quest Editor. Not really in the engine, but in the Lua API. There are shaders, of course. We talked a lot about shaders in previous streams. More customization of the hero abilities. Custom properties and entities, we saw that in my last stream, it was on Monday, and some various new features that can come handy in the Lua API. Get pixels and set pixels was also people wanted this. I've been asking for this for a long time. What else? Auto tiles, of course, but it's more a Quest Editor feature. Custom properties, we already said, and Quest Editor. Let's see what's new. Auto tiles. Again, there were a lot of streams about this a few months ago. Custom properties, we talked about that, and changing the pattern of existing tiles. This is what we just did tonight. Locking layer is also very nice. A small feature of the Quest Editor, but it fixes a very annoying problem that we always had when you try to select multiple entities with a rectangle like that. But you are in the middle of a big map. You can't start from outside, let's say, but you don't want to move the floor here. You want to select entities. That was already possible by pressing Control, but it's hard to know that. And now you can just lock any layer you want. For example, if I lock layer 0, okay, I can only select entities on layer 1. So I locked the whole layer. I cannot lock individual entities. So my example is not the greatest one. for that problem, pressing Ctrl is really the best way. But in other projects, it's really useful. Every time I'm reproducing a map from a model, don't know if I still have some models here, but I did a lot of streams where I have a model to reproduce, and it's nice to be able to log the model and still access other entities. Yeah, what else? Some new shortcuts, small features. How to duplicate tile patterns and to move several tile patterns at once. So you can create a new pattern from an existing one. Let's just find some space. Say here, duplicate here, that's new. And you can also move several patterns at once. That's also new. Stuff like that. And some improvements in the sprite editor. But most importantly, auto tiles, custom properties, changing the pattern of existing tiles, and shaders. These are the greatest new features of 1.6. An editor to create enemies. Well, you can create their sprites from the editor, and then you have to script their behavior. And it's a bit the same for items. You can make your item sprite and then some script to describe the behavior of each item. One day we'll try to make a user interface allowing to make menus like an inventory, save game menu, a title screen. But this is really long term. Okay. Oh, thanks, Steven. Didn't see your message. Yeah, it was nice to summarize the new features of 1.6 because of course not everyone saw the previous streams. So if there are no further questions, I will end the stream now. The next stream will be on Sunday. I will be streaming, I will be playing this time. It will be completely different. I will be playing Donkey Kong Country 3, the second episode of this new series, but it will be in French. And on Monday I will be streaming again, this time as a user of the Quest Editor and not as a developer of the Quest Editor like tonight. And as a user of the Quest Editor I will stream. And by the way, all of this is detailed in the Twitch program. There is a schedule widget below the Twitch video. So, and to finish what I said, yeah, I will be streaming some work on Children of Solarus, our non-Zelda project. And this is really the future of Solarus. Because Zelda projects are great, but having our own clean and free graphics is really something awesome. I try to do some streams in English and other ones in French. Donkey Kong Country 3 will be in French, and Children of Solarus on Monday will be in English. Or did I say it was in French? Yeah, I planned actually to do the Children of Solarus stream in French, because I noticed that all previous Children of Solarus streams were in English. So I have to take care of my French-speaking viewers as well. But it will be mostly about mapping, so it will be more graphics than anything. What I will be saying is not so important probably, but still I will obviously answer in the chat in English if there are questions in English. Okay, thank you all for watching. Thank you for your nice messages. This is really motivating, and see you next time. Bye.